Hello and welcome to episode 1008. Yes, 1006 was on Sunday. 1007 was already recorded. It was the fireside chat. It'll be coming out soon, I think later this week. So this is 1008. It's February 1st. I'm your host, Paul Sporer, joined this morning by Justin Mason. Justin, good morning, sir.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. Hopefully people listen before they get in the comments saying, why did you go from 1006 to 1008?
I won't.
I didn't know exactly when we would get the fireside, so I pushed it ahead. I just didn't push it far enough ahead. Not a big deal. 1008, we're picking up where we left off last time, which is the opposite. BATX potential gems is what we talked about last time. Today, we're looking at some of the fades, some of the guys that the BATX is kind of off on based on the dollar value that they spit out for the player versus their ADP. So let's just start because we are working on a nice narrow time frame here. So let's dive right in with Alejandro Kirk at catcher, a very popular up and coming catcher. Now, you and I have talked about this situation a few different times at length already with regards to the Toronto catching situation. That right now, as is, they've got three guys who can catch: Danny Jansen, Reese McGuire, both of whom are quality backstops more than they are anything at the dish, and then Alejandro Kirk, who isn't as great behind the dish but is wonderful at the dish. He's a wonderful hitter. And then that says nothing of Gabriel Moreno, who's on deck too. He was in the fall league, which once you're in the fall league, you're on the cusp. They don't always come up the very next year, and he only had 3 games at AAA this year, so he can go down to AAA for a while, but he's going to be knocking on the door soon too. So they got to make a move somewhere, and I wonder if that's what's at the heart of the BATX's concern with him. Although I'm looking at it now in relation to Steamer, they only have 4 fewer plate appearances, so it isn't a playing time situation. It's a couple homers, and then again something similar to what we saw last time, a big edge in average for Steamer. They have Kirk hitting 281, BATX has him at 269 with 13 homers, 43 ribbies versus 15 and 48, and even Steamer has 2 chip-in steals for some reason. That is probably adding to the value as well. So the BATX a bit lighter on Kirk, got him down at catcher 14 in the market. I want to say he's 10. Oh no, he's 13. Okay, so this is actually a bit more in line with the January market here, but it's still the ADP that we had Kirk all the way up at like the 9th catcher the last time I looked at it. So this one actually isn't as far off as I thought. I'm curious of your thoughts on Kirk. I think you said you're kind of fading him a bit.
I originally was fading him, but I've kind of come around on him. I think large part due to our last conversation. And in this battle of the podcast draft, I just finished. He was my first catcher.
Okay.
I waited till round, I think 16 until I grabbed my first catcher, grabbed Kirk.
15 or 12 team league?
15 team league.
Okay.
So waited quite a while. Catchers went off insanely early, and I just was like, you know what? If I'm not going to get one I really, really love, then I'm going to wait till later. And so I kind of punted catcher and went with some high upside guys in Kirk and Melendez and Bart. But I think they're going to play him, right? Like, I don't think he's going back down to AAA. Yeah. I think somebody's getting traded, and maybe even 2 somebodies are getting traded if they want to bring up Moreno.
With Moreno, yeah. I think they can wait on that.
I think they can.
Trade Jansen or McGuire to a team that wants a defensive-oriented catcher. Then you have one defensive guy in like Jansen or McGuire. Again, they're pretty equal to me. And then Kirk, the guy, and he's not dreadful. He's not Luis Torrens behind the dish, who like has no business catching. Dalton Varsho, no business catching. Kirk is okay. He's just okay, but he's not Jansen. So yeah. it is less back there behind the dish. But I mean, the DH spot, I feel like he needs to be in that spot regularly then, because dude can swing it. And I don't think they necessarily need to take Teoscar Hernandez, Lourdes Gurriel, or George Springer off the field. I think Kirk is fighting Grichuk in a way. That's kind of the one-to-one
talk. There's talk Grichuk could be traded too. So.
That would make some sense too. And that contract's not expensive. He's making like 10 mil a year. That's perfectly capable for 3.5 out, like 3.5 outfielder. He's not quite a 4th, but he doesn't necessarily need to be in your starting lineup every single day. But he's a solid, decent corner outfielder. Randall Grichuk is. So if he gets moved, that would also help.
So I mean, I take the over on these plate appearances. Uh,
Yeah, I think he can hit 400 something.
and I think you take the over on the batting average too. I mean, he had a 288 XBA last year. He's a guy who makes a great amount of contact, especially for being a catcher. And I mean, when you get to this point in the draft, when you're talking about the 13th catcher off the board, you're
Mhm.
working with some garbage, right? And
For
so,
real.
give me the guy who has some real upside to like jump into that top 10 or even top like 6 or 7 in terms of catcher, and I think that's what Kirk is. So I'm going to take. I'm not going to overload myself because I do think there is a chance that he just doesn't play enough because maybe Grichuk gets hot, maybe they decide not to trade a catcher and they send Kirk back down. I mean, we all thought he was going to be playing full time last year,
True.
and then
He got hurt though.
but then they didn't play him
He
full time
he
until
had some
until he
time
came back.
down. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I think that is in the range of outcomes. I think it's much less likely this year than it was last year. So I've bought in now. I've jumped on. I'm not leading the bandwagon. Other people have been leading the bandwagon. Rob Silver, one of the guys, has been talking about him for a couple years now. But now I'm firmly on the bandwagon with the rest of you guys.
I really like Cabot Ruiz and Alejandro Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
You don't usually get batting average out of catchers, so when you can, I feel like it's a real boon. And I really like both those guys. So yeah, I like Kirk too. And again, don't want to overstate the BATX. The market has changed a bit to put the BATX more in line with the market. When I first put these numbers together, which was back when I did the first ones, the gems.
Mm-hmm.
This one was a little bit more of out there. Now it's kind of matching the market, but I still want to keep them on there just to kind of get our definitive points on the catching situation there. Once the lockout's lifted, if they move a catcher, I think Kirk's ADP goes up for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, first base now. Now this one, well off the market, and it's Ty France. He comes in as the 27th first baseman on the BATX when he's going off at the 13th first baseman in the market. So a colossal split here between what the market thinks and where BATX is at. And even where Steamer is, to be honest, there's an 11-point difference in WRC plus between Steamer and the BATX. And that constitutes a big batting average dip, but also 5 homers, a ton of ribbies, a ton of runs. Let me just give you the numbers here. BATX has him for 18 homers, matching his 2021 output, but only 67 ribbies, 258 average, down from 291 and 281 career. That's curious to me why it's so low. 67 ribbies, 66 runs. Steamer has 23 homers, 83 ribbies, 80 runs, 272 average. I lean closer to Steamer than I do the BATX. I'm surprised the BATX is so cool on France here, especially with that batting average down at 258. He's a 281 career for 1,000 plate appearances. Sub 20% strikeout rate for his career at 19%, 16% last year for Ty France. What am I missing here? I'm surprised the BATX does not like my boy Ty France. What's up?
I don't like Ty France that much either, but I don't get really where they're coming in with as few plate appearances as Steamer. I mean, I think that's part of the big difference is, Steamer projects him for 652 plate appearances. The BATX and the BAT both project him for 590. So I mean, they're dropping quite a few plate appearances. I don't know that I see that coming. I mean, he can play first and second. I'm pretty sure he's locked into an everyday role there. They really like him. So I think he's going to get every opportunity to play. I think that Steamer's batting average is fine. Like, I think you probably hit a
I
little
think it's
bit
low
low.
too. I agree with Zips at 282.
I see. I don't. I'm much more. I think 270 is what Ty France is.
I think it's fine as a projection, but he's a
yeah.
281 career guy. He hit 291 last year. I don't understand why we wouldn't
It's
expect a good batting average.
Well, and I think I know a little bit why. Like, the BATX relies a lot on StatCast. His XBA last year was 269, so I think that's why it's a little bit lower. I feel like that's fair.
XBA not predictive.
I understand that. Of course, it's not predictive, but that's that's one of the things that I'm sure goes into it. I don't know what goes into it. I'm not as smart as Derek Carty. We talked about that last episode. So, but yeah, I mean, I think he's fine. He's got boring. Like, I don't see
there's some boringness to it, but not as I don't think it's boring at second base. I mean, I'm covering him here at first. Because just because that's the position I chose. I first saw him when he stuck
I
out
usually
there.
like to get some bags though at second base. I want some stolen bases.
Yeah, I can
So,
understand that, but I really like Ty France. I think, I really think a 325 homer season is the upside there. Like that's like
okay.
everything goes crazy,
Yeah, I mean, I'm
and
sure
and
that's partly the range of outcomes. I think, and like we always say, like projections give a 50, a median outcome, right? Like it's
I
not.
still think 258 is too low for that.
Oh yeah, I think 258 is probably a little bit too low. So I've got him ranked at first baseman number 20.
He is he's 18th for me too. So I'm
So
around you. Like we're not
yeah,
too crazy. We're actually below the market too then, because what
hmm
did I say? They got him 13th, but
yeah.
27. I can't do
13,
27.
13 is way too high. 13 is insanely high.
Well, here's the thing on that. The second base influence there, I think, is
Maybe,
what's
yeah.
interesting? Here's something that might blow your mind.
He's even lower in second base, isn't he?
He's 15th at the second base.
Yeah.
So first base a little bit shallower then.
Technically.
I mean,
I don't know that it's shallower. What it is it's actually deeper, which drives the middle prices down, right? Because people go, well, what's the difference between this guy at 13 and this guy at 22? Like, there's not
okay,
that
that's
much
fair.
of a difference.
That's fair.
So people
Think
are
about
willing
some of the
to wait in the middle.
uncertainty.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were done there. You're right. I think that point is well stated there. Think about some of the uncertainty right around France. Tyler Stevenson's there. You guys know how I feel. If you put a catcher at anywhere but catcher, you're making a bad, this is something I'm unchallenged on. You are making a bad move if you put a catcher anywhere but catcher.
The only time it's rational is when you're in an NFBC draft and hold or a Fantrax draft and hold.
To not take a zero.
Yeah, and to not take a zero, right? You got injuries and you go, okay, I'd rather play Stevenson at first than play, I don't know, Will Craig, who's actually in Japan. So
exactly. No, and there are a few extenuating circumstances, but generally speaking, if you're putting him there, it's such a negative expected value play that it makes no sense. But Stevenson's there. But then Hoskins, people have questions about the shoulder. Votto, old. Can he do it again? Muncy, injuries. We're concerned about that. Kirilloff, the wrist. Rizzo, old. Doesn't have a place yet. Mancini, just too low, by the way. Mancini at the 20th first baseman off the board, to me, is insane. I would take Mancini over Ty France. So
I've got him one spot over Ty France. I have Mancini at 19.
Yeah, so we really don't agree with him there. So Ty France, we're okay with we're in lockstep, but we're in lockstep below the market, but above the back.
Yeah.
All right, let's move over to DJ LeMahieu, another guy I could have included at first or second or third, but 24th on the first base list. He ranks DJ LeMahieu. Where'd you go? He is 23rd on the second base for BATX, and in the market, DJ LeMahieu should have written these down. Pardon me, I'm all over the map. 13th at second base in the market right now. So similar to France, where BATX says, nah, down at 23. Market says 13th, betting on a rebound. BATX, pessimistic about that. 276 batting average is the lowest among the projection set. Just another 10 home runs. The BATX sees. They're not seeing a power rebound here, whereas like Steamer has 17 homers, for example. 59 ribbies. That's also a low among the projection set, and 77 runs. So the BATX is dead low on everything. And now we have ATC, the BATX, Fangraphs depth charts, which is I believe Steamer, but with depth charts playing time. Steamer, Zips, and then Zips depth chart, which is the Zips with our playing time. So we have 7 different projections. The BATX, far and away the lowest on DJ LeMahieu. He's going to be 33. He's coming off of a mediocre as hell season when he was like a 3rd round pick. He still didn't strike out, 14%, 11% walk. The bat skills are still there, but the BABIP dipped to 301. The power evaporated to a 94 ISO when he was at 226 in the 2020 season, 191 in the 2019 breakout. Where are you on DJ LeMahieu? Do you see more of a rebound, or do you lean closer to the BATX?
Yeah, no, I think there's a rebound coming. I mean, the news came out, after the season that he played through a core injury. He's gotten the surgery on it. I think he's going to be fine. I think, we may not see 26 home runs again.
Yeah.
I think,
nobody's expecting that.
Yeah, I think Steamer's got a pretty good projection with 17 home runs, 95 runs scored, almost 70 RBIs.
And they're the high
Uh,
end.
yeah, and then, but I think all of them are low on the batting average. I mean, this is a guy who, hitting well over 300 previous 2 seasons, dealt with core injury, just, wasn't able to get around on stuff as easily. So, I kind of think that his floor is probably a 280, 285 batting average, and all of the projection systems are saying, nope, he's gonna hit somewhere between 276, 285. I think, yeah, that
I'm with
seems a
you.
little silly to me. I got him as a top 10 first baseman.
Top 10.
Yeah, you get triple eligibility.
I
He's
do
going
love
to
the triple eligibility.
hit on top of that Yankees lineup. I'm not worried about DJ LeMahieu.
I thought I was not worried, but comparatively, I am apparently because I'm not. I'm not out. Like I think there is a rebound coming too. I like him well enough, but you like him. I've got
Yeah,
him 15th at second base, but I got him with a group of guys that are like Jake Cronenworth is right there. What's the difference?
yeah.
Not really.
Hmm.
Not really a whole lot. LeMahieu probably a better batting average upside. He's shown it at least at the major league level.
A little more power in Cronenworth. Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of the trade-off
mhm.
that you're looking at there. But yeah, I am surprised that this one comes in so low again on DJ LeMahieu because I don't feel like that's what we're dealing with him. I don't feel like it's the beginning of the end, and I feel like there is reasoning behind it. You mentioned the core injury. That doesn't wash away everything. That he's still 33. There's still reason to have some concern, and
Mhm.
yeah, bring down the 2019 season a good bit. But I still think there's more than 10 homers and a 276 average
He hit
from
10
LeMahieu.
homers in the 60 games in 2020. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, like even if we regress 2019 and 2020, like he's going to hit more than 10 home runs. Like, so I mean, as long as he's healthy, maybe the beginning to end is injuries for him, and maybe that's what
Hmm.
I'm missing. And maybe that's what the bat is trying to see right now. But I mean, I think it's being overthought here. I think
Yeah.
that he's a real bargain in the marketplace right now.
I think if we, we'll keep an eye out if we get some best shape of his life stuff. Yeah, I don't discount that stuff completely. I know it's a fun meme, but when somebody is healthy, like I think that like they're the meme we know, right? Not to just take somebody flexing as like now they're gonna be great. But when
Hmm.
somebody was hurt and they had a down season, they come back and they look healthy. I do put stock into that. And so here's hoping that LeMahieu comes to camp healthy and ready to go. And then he presents a bargain.
He played 150 games, which some of those were with that sports hernia.
Oh, for
Like that's
sure. Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
I
He was
mean,
grinding through
he's
it.
still on the field. Like I got no problem with Lemayo.
And that's a big deal for sure. Now let's go to a little bit of a different player here at shortstop. LeMahieu is supposed to be the highly skilled guy that kind of builds you this strong floor that you can live on, whereas Jazz Chisholm is the flashy, raw, highly skilled, flashy skills of power and speed, but raw. Up there hacking. What can he do? The bat says not a whole lot. The BATX says not a whole lot. 21st among shortstops. The market, quite a bit higher than that, has him 11th. So another 10 ranking split here between the market from January 1st on. So that's 106 drafts through now does not agree here with the BATX. They're going to play for that big upside of power and speed. The BATX says, nah, there's reasons to be concerned here, and we're going to come in with a 235 batting average, 19 homers and 23 steals. Now the counting numbers are not terribly far off. Everyone kind of lives in this 2020 range. The low end of homers is 19 with Zips in the BATX. The high end of steals is 23 with ATC and the BATX. The batting average vacillates as well from 228 to 241. The 235 of the BATX is kind of in the middle. So the bottom line is the BATX is more in line with all of the projections that are all a bit more tepid on Jazz Chisholm. Are we not fully assessing the risk, or are we just buying the upside knowing that a 2020 floor, even with a bad batting average, isn't too bad? What do you
Yeah,
think about Jazz Chisholm?
you're still getting 2020. Like I think this just speaks to the depth of shortstop, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that a 2020 season in projections ranks you that low at just this position.
Pretty bad counting too because of the Marlins, right? 59 ribbies.
They're going to be better.
And 72 runs. I think they're going to be better too, but this also only has 100. These are all light on games too, 132 games.
He's missing time with injury.
So. Exactly. So they're building in some injury concern too, and they're still getting you to a basically 2020 season. I think there is a reading of these projections that says, even though the market's high on Chisholm, that you do want him, because if this is kind of the floor, and it's not the full floor, right? A projection isn't the floor, but if this is kind of what we can generally expect without things really improving, with the potential of the improvement also bought in there, I don't know. I like that. Is 11th too much though? Is the 79th pick too much to pay for that?
I don't think so. Let's see. I just picked him in this Battle of the Podcast draft for the last pick of the 6th round.
Okay.
The 6-7 turn. So what is it? A 15-teamer, 6 times 15 is
90.
90. I felt really good about that.
I would think so, yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
do that math right. I'm really bad at math. I think I did it right.
You did do it right, yeah. Because the 30 or 15 plus 15 is
that's right.
It's 30 times 3. So
people are like, dude, these people are so stupid. I'm so bad at math, y'all. And okay, so I've been having technical issues. My computer had to be wiped and redone, and we were going to get a new computer and then or use a different computer, and then that one had issues. So I'm back on the old one, but wiped. For whatever reason, the calculator app didn't install.
Oh no.
And I can't get it. I know about going to the Windows store. I know about typing in some stuff in the PowerShell. For anybody that wants to try to help me, you got to go beyond the basic Googling. I tried all of it. So I don't have a calculator.
Have you tried putting it in rice?
It's a great call. That's really, really funny. So I didn't realize how much I use my computer calculator every single day. And it's driving me nuts because there's a button on top of my keyboard that you can go right to the calculator. And I keep pressing it, muscle memory to just press it, start typing in numbers, and it's not there. And it's driving me nuts. Just I don't have the notepad either. I used to take scroll little notes on it. It's a notepad.
You have a phone, right?
Yes, I know. And that's what I'm going to have to start using because it's driving me absolutely batty. I'm getting the new, we ordered some new parts for the other computer. They'll be here at the end of the week, but just drive me insane. Anyway, not enough time for tangents right now. Jazz Chisholm, the 11th shortstop. I got him 13th. Where do you got him?
I have Chisholm.
Actually,
I got him 12.
I have your rankings, by the way. Mine will be on the sheet today, the same sheet that you have for Justin. They're going to be right next to his, and I'm going to try to add in a little bit of a little difference thing, so you can easily see, oh, Justin's 10 points higher. I want to investigate that. So that same sheet, patrons, will be there, and I got a little piece coming out on Adley Rutschman later this week. If not today, Tuesday, then tomorrow, Wednesday. So yeah, stuff coming on the Patreon. I've already got a few articles up. We're getting more Patreon stuff. We keep saying it's coming, and it's actually coming now. Anyway, so you have him 12th. I'm 13th. So we're right there with the market. We're really not that far off. But 21st is where this projection puts him on the BATX. That's what really jumped out to me. I was like, I can't believe that this projection, which is pretty good, all told, that if you just walk away with a 2020 and a poor batting average, you're not pissed about that. And then because you have to factor in 20 games of replacement value there. So that roster spot would probably still get you. Actually, you know what? We have on the auction calculator, the experimental, you click that little experimental button and it adds extra replacement value. Let's see what that does. It only moves them up one spot. So they're not that keen on that replacement value, but I feel like you could still get a bit more out of that spot. I'm open to taking Jazz. I know that the floor is low because he could reasonably hit 220 and really struggle, but the power and speed is going to keep something coming. And I just believe in him as a player. So I'm higher than this BATX thing here.
I am too.
All right, next up, this one's painful. I like this though. This is a great mix of players here between young and old and different scenarios too. It's not just every young guy that he's down on or every oldie, but this one, Anthony Rendon, he's not seeing the rebound, the BATX. I say he as though it's just Derek's thoughts. It's his system, but it's not just Derek's biased opinions. He has the inputs. I'm not saying that he doesn't control it, but I don't want to make it sound like he's just spouting thoughts off the hip about players. No, he goes very methodically here through the stuff. But his projection system, the BATX, puts Anthony Rendon as the 13th third baseman, which I don't need to tell you is going to be way lower than the market. But let me tell you where it puts him in the market. In the current market, Anthony Rendon is 9th. So it's a 4 ranking split, which isn't egregious, but it does say, hey, I'm not betting as big on an Anthony Rendon rebound as probably a lot of others are. I'm not betting as big as normal. I'm speaking for me specifically now. I have him ranked. I'm ranked 10th. So I'm kind of like, I'm right there with the market just fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not bending over backwards for Rendon again this year, as I often do. And maybe it's getting burned last year. And I don't automatically run from guys when they burn me, but I've just been looking elsewhere at third base this year. Let me give you a few numbers on Rendon before I get your thoughts. BATX has him for a 263 average, which again won't surprise you. One of the big keys here is that he's been consistently lower on these batting average projections. The BATX has been consistently lower on these projections than others batting average wise. 263 is the lowest by 7 points comparatively to the bat itself. The BATX, by the way, I want to say it takes in the StatCast data, right? That's the big difference between the bat and the BATX.
Yep, that is
so the StatCast data is offering up a 7-point lower batting average projection, meaning that the data isn't encouraging on the way he hit the ball the last year, but that's because he only played 58 games. I wonder if that's just explained away via the injury, because the batting, the homer runs and ribbies, they're not too far off. I'm not even going to fill your head with all those numbers. They're all in the low 20s for homers, except for Zips is low at 17. The RBIs range from like 75 to 83. Actually, Zips DC has 87. Because the Zips only projects them for 105 games, and our depth charts give them 133. But then the runs are all in the same range of the mid 70s. So, bottom line, BATX only has him rebounding, Anthony Rendon rebounding to a 263 average. That's the crux of this ranking here. Where do you come out on our boy Rendon? Because I know we've been super high on him the last few years.
Yeah, I don't understand these projection systems giving him a low 270 batting average. And like I said, the BATX 263. Like
that one, my jaw hit the floor.
I mean, he's a career 312 BABIP guy. His BABIP was 267 last year. Like I said, dealt with the injuries that really just derailed the entire season. But he was fine in 2020. If you prorate his 2020 out to a full season, it's like 27 home runs, 286 batting average. He had 319 in 2019.
He's always been a batting average guy.
I just feel like he's the question is what do we think we get in terms of games played? Because he has been a guy who struggled with injuries early on in his career, then had a few seasons of health, and now looks like he's struggling a little bit more. So so maybe I think he plays 130 games. And he hits 25 home runs and he hits 290. So I've got him at number 9, so I'm right there with the market, right there with you. But yeah, I don't see this drop off that the BATX is seeing, especially batting average. I think that is a little bit fluky.
Yeah, they got Josh Donaldson's at 11, and I can't in good conscience take Josh Donaldson.
No, because he's even more injury prone than Rendon. So and I like Donaldson. Donaldson's price for me, he falls in drafts. Point where I go, well, that's a really nice CI, especially if I've got another CI on the bench, right? So, but Rendon, that lineup in LA, especially, I think they're gonna add either Story or Correa. That lineup is gonna be nuts hitting behind him.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah, so I think he's. I don't think he's going to necessarily have a monster. Obviously, I think that's in the cards, but so is another injury-prone year. I think it really comes down to how comfortable you are with his health. If you're not, he's getting older. He's coming off a season where he missed 2/3 of the season. If you're not comfortable with that, and in a lot of drafts so far, I've passed on him because of that. I totally get that, but especially if you're playing in a shower league where there is a lot of replacement value, you can easily put them on, especially if you've got a lot of IL spots. I think there's a lot of leagues, and the majority of leagues, where he makes a lot of sense, especially where he's going at his price.
Yeah, I think so too. I think for me, pick 108 for Rendon, the ninth third baseman off the board, is fair enough to take that plunge. And then the team build around it will depend. Do I have other injury risks? I want to mitigate it a bit, or do I have some more stability that I feel like, hey, I can take this shot here that Rendon gets back to a relatively full season with 580 plus plate appearances, and then I'll go from there. Like I said, haven't been going out to get him as much as I did last year. Not fully out on him though. With Anthony Rendon, and I do think 13 is a little too low with Ryan McMahon, Josh Donaldson, and Eugenio Suarez, the three guys ahead of him that I really take objection to. Suarez, Donaldson, Matt Chapman, they all kind of fit a similar mold for me, and I got them lower. And I like, how many homers does Suarez have to hit to counterbalance his batting average over Rendon?
Yeah.
They got him. BATX has him for 32 with a 241, and then 23 with a 263 for Rendon versus Suarez. That's homers and batting average. 32, 241. I can see that for Suarez, but I just see a much higher batting average for
he's
Rendon.
coming off 2 straight seasons where he's hit 200. Suarez is.
True.
True. I mean, yes. Could he hit that? 241. Yeah.
He's being given a lot of leeway for his batting average that these other guys who hit for batting average aren't. And that's curious to me. And I wonder if it's just that he smacks the ball, but you can't even say, like, I've been checking since you brought it up the first time about these XBAs. And a lot of times these XBAs are kind of explaining it a bit, even though it's not a super predictive stat, but it wouldn't explain it with Suarez because his XBA was 215 this year, 213 and 20, 241 the year before that. So I don't know how our projection is starting.
Suarez too.
I do too. I do too.
He made a real change in September, and it resulted in a really, really nice September. That being said, you can't just throw out the fact that he's had 2 seasons of straight garbage before that last month in September on a Reds team that wasn't necessarily really competing, and so.
And I think there's just too much similarity between those other guys that I named that I wouldn't stretch out to get Suarez when Chapman and Donaldson and maybe even Luis Urias gets there this year. He doesn't have that same power, but man, he's been tapping into his power. So, I don't know. Team build would matter there because I think he's more of a batting average guy with less power. But either way, I definitely like Rendon more than this BATX projection. Third base is interesting there, though. It really starts to diverge in all sorts of different ways. Once you get past like Bregman, then do you want to go with the star level veteran who has some injury issues like a Bryant, a Rendon, a Lemayo? Do you want to go upstart like a Brian Hayes? Do you want to see if Yohan Moncada can push back and really get going again? Urias, McMahon, Turner. Remember we talked about Turner when we talked about the potential gems. Him down there at 15 off the third base board. I like that better than some of these other guys. I will say Suarez and Donaldson at 18 and 19 as a third baseman off the board. Those are some nice bargains.
Yeah, I think, and one of the things we keep hearing about in the industry is their third base is so bad, third base is so bad. It's shallow. It's not that it's shallow. It's that after you get past the 6th third baseman,
they're all the same.
They're red flags. So
It's not that they're all the same. Yeah, it's just big red flags, and you choose which red flag. Do you want an injury red flag? Do you want a performance red flag? Do you want a batting average one? It just becomes giant red flags.
Yeah.
But they all each carry usually 1 or 2 big green flags too that you're like, do I need that right now? Do I need this over-the-top power from Eugenio Suarez? Do I need this potentially over-the-top batting average from Anthony Rendon? And then you kind of make your decisions there. Yeah. Let's move on to the outfield. This is a guy that I haven't seen a lot of negativity on. I haven't seen people going over the top to bat for him either. It's been kind of, we know what he is. We appreciate Tommy Edman, and we're going to get him for his speed. But this one says, be careful. And I wonder if this might not be a BATX specific thing. It's just where I noticed it with BATX because I'm looking at these projections for Tommy Edman, and the BATX is not too far off everywhere else. So I wonder if just all the projections are a little bit light on Tommy Edman relative to where he's going in the market. And I think it would be easily explained by the fact of the speed premium, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
Tommy Edman is the 22nd outfielder off the board, yet projections have him as the 38th guy here. And I'm going to do Steamer real quick just to test my little theory that I think that they're going to be lower on him too because their projection is not that far off. Yeah, they got him 41. So BATX isn't even the low. These are just consider this one more or less of a BATX thing and more of a projection thing. The projections are down on Edmonds' price, and they all seem to project a dip in the stolen bases. He had 30 last year, and then the BATX has 23. Steamer has 23. Um, Zips has 29 though, because they have him for a 156 game season, which he had 159 last year. The other systems have 143, 268 average as well, 59 ribbies, 78 runs. He scored 91 runs last year. That was huge. They got him dipping down to 78 here. I'm pro Edman. I was very pro Edman last year. Served me well. I'm not moving off that. I don't see any real reason to jump off that. I don't know that he's going to score that few runs, I guess, unless they're saying he's going to move down the lineup. I have him as my 27th outfielder off the board. How do you feel about Tommy Edman coming into this year? 22nd in the market, 27th on my board, 38th for the BATX.
38th for BATX, 27th off your board, 25th on my board,
okay,
and first in our hearts.
Correct. Absolutely. First in our hearts. Love Tommy Edman.
From August 13th on, every game he started, there's one game he came in as a pinch hitter, he led off for the Cardinals. In that time frame, he hit 4 home runs and stole 11 bases in 215 plate appearances while hitting 288. Now, I'm not saying we should necessarily just triple those plate appearances, but if we do, that's 12 home runs, 105 runs scored, and 33 stolen bases. That seems like a pretty damn good Tommy Edman line.
I'd say so.
And I don't think that's out of bounds. I don't see what these other projection systems are saying. I mean, over that course of time, he had a 92% zone contact. I mean, I think he's undervalued. I don't.
You're singing my tune right there.
I might be too low on him. He might need to be higher up in my ranks. I'm not seeing what they're seeing.
Yeah, I'm definitely surprised by it, and I'm still going to draft Edman. Double eligible, infield, outfield at second and outfield. I don't see any reason why St. Louis is going to go away from him. I think they really like him. We know that this is a player type that they like. If he stops batting leadoff, sure, there might be cause for concern, but nothing suggests that. What are you going to put Harrison Bader up there with his swing and miss? No shot. Like, who are you going to put up there that isn't already better in the heart of the order where they're at? Goldie number 2, O'Neill 3, Arenado 4, Carlson 5. I know that
he led off for the last month and a half of the season. And they were a hot team while he was doing that. Like they were
they made
games.
They were making their run. They couldn't lose.
They're not going to go away from what worked.
Bader did cut his strikeouts last year. I want to be clear on that because I do like Bader, but I don't think that he has earned the leadoff spot right now. Even though Edman's kind of a throwback traditional leadoff hitter, a slappy speedster, I think it works and I think they like it. So I'm still keen on him. I'll take him in that mid-20s area of outfielders that I mentioned. At second base, I got him all the way up at 10th because, obviously a big difference there between second and outfield. But I really like Edman and definitely think he's somebody that that will wind up on more of my teams this year. The stolen bases are great.
I actually had him at 10th. I'm going to move him in front of India.
And there's a little punch there too. He does have 2 double-digit home run seasons, so it's not just Miles Straw level.
I don't think we're going to see much more power.
Though. No. But if I just keep getting the double digits, I don't need more. I'm not calling. Yeah.
I think 10 home runs is a fine projection for him. His exit velocities are not something we're impressed by, but he's just got great bat to ball skills and contact. Like he's just he's gonna get on base because he hits the ball all over the park, sprays the ball, and then he's gonna steal bases, which is what we want him to do.
And if he can be more of like a 325, 330 OBP guy, I think he could push 100 runs.
Yeah,
like that could be the upside for Tommy Edman there. We're talking growth there, not the baseline. But I still like Tommy Edman. I will definitely still draft him. All right, let's wrap up with a pitcher here that the BATX. Actually, I think for pitchers it's just the bat. There isn't a BATX.
Yes, yeah, there's no BATX.
So yeah, shifting over to the bat here though, the bat is not a fan of one Kevin Gausman. And let me give you where Gausman ranks. Gausman is the 29th pitcher. Hang on, let me do starters. I did pitchers for some reason because I'm a doof. 23rd, the 23rd starter. And you're not going to be surprised to learn that he goes much higher than that. He's the 24th pitcher off the board, but that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take off 5 relievers, and you got 19. So 19 to 23, not a colossal split, but a split nonetheless. That there is some concern here from the BATX about Kevin Gausman moving back to the AL East. I'm not terribly surprised that there would be a little bit of concern. It's the only projection north of 4, though, for the ERA. 4.19 ERA, 124 whip, still a 28% strikeout rate. So the BATX believes the strikeouts can hold, but the ERA 4.19 with a 124 whip. If you're taking that as the 19th pitcher off the board, you're disappointed. I mean, that's the 69th pick. That is not nice. So what do you think about Gausman heading back to the American League East and trying to tame that beast of a division again?
Oh, I love Gausman. I wish the Giants had kept him.
Not only for your fandom, but for his fantasy.
For both, yeah, for both.
Yeah,
mostly for my fandom, but for both. I'm a little concerned about him going back to the East. He's going to be working with catchers he's never worked with. He's going to be on that turf. He's going to be in that division. I'm just a little scared. I've got him as my 19th, I think.
So do I.
Starting pitcher off the board.
You're
my 21st. I have missed my 21st.
Okay, so you're even lower
off the board. I don't think I'm going to get him on any teams where I have him ranked.
Probably not.
And I'm okay with that. I think I'm willing to kind of wait and see. There's just so many other starting pitchers I really like that I'm just not going to gamble with someone I'm not super confident. I look at these numbers though from the bat, and I'm like, what the hell did he do to Derek? And how is that still would you say the 23rd or 24th?
That's the part that gets me. How does that still register so high?
I have no idea. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I don't know that his whip is going to go up that high. I mean, he has a 104 whip in 2021, 111 whip in 2020. So and all the other projection systems have him 1-1 something. I mean, even Steamer's 119, which is higher than I think I would necessarily give him, but 124, we're saying he's going back to pre-San Francisco Gausman then at that point. I don't know.
I mean, that is some concern, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that I have that low. I think the ERA is going to go back up. I think it's going to be a mid threes. I worry that home run rate is going to, balloon a little bit in the AL East, and not being in Oracle, which is such a great place to pitch. And that's my bigger concerns. So yeah, I'm lower than the market is on Gausman, but I'm not as low as the bat.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I have some concerns that I'm not terribly far off this ERA. Steamer's at 393. I think 393, 119, the Steamer projection for Gausman is a bit more where I'm at.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I'm pretty nervous about him going back. And, I think I've seen some top 10 rankings for him among starters. I want to be excited, but I can't get there. Mm-hmm. I'm actually going to move him down a little bit here. because I'm looking at some of these other guys around him. Like, you take Jack Flaherty or Kevin Gausman?
I've got Flaherty above him.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty hot on Flaherty this year, man.
Flaherty's only concern is health. Like,
yeah,
it's just,
like we've
what's the health
seen an
situation?
elite season, a sub-3 ERA for a full season. What about Trevor Rogers or Kevin
I have
Gausman?
them right next to each other. I've got Rogers one spot below, and I go back and forth on who I think should be higher.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm so torn on this.
I'm torn on those two. They are now stacked on each other. I did put Rogers above him, but when you're talking 1 point ranking difference, it's not really a big difference. What about Frankie Montas?
Frankie Montas, I have at 24. I don't think I can get Gausman below him. Essentially, I don't. Do we feel like Montas is going to get traded here?
I don't know what they're going to do, right? That was coloring my ranking of Olsen. And I admit that one of my, they're not going to trade to where he's like the only guy. So maybe I shouldn't be worried about Olsen. Like, he's either going to stay with the group and like a bunch of them are going to stay, or if anybody goes, like, he's probably the first one to go. So I did move him back up a little bit, which you'll see on the Patreon rankings, and then my second run of first baseman. But I'm still nervous about Oakland in general. And you don't want Montas out of Oakland. Not that he can't hang anywhere else, but you just love guys in that park. Like, you got to be happy about guys.
And that my big fear is they trade him out of there, and then all of a sudden, and so I mean, I could see injury,
and he only has the one great season.
Exactly.
Whereas his first time over 100 major league innings.
Like, Rogers was really, really good. Gausman has a little bit more track record, and so I think I'm going to keep.
Well, and we know Rogers. Well, we don't know, but we have a strong feeling Rogers is not leaving Miami.
Yeah,
right. Like,
because he's a lefty. I think if they move someone, it's probably Pablo Lopez.
I think so too, unless his injury keeps the price down. But yeah, I think they are a fit to move somebody for a big bat, and it could be Rogers. But I think his trade chances are lower than Montas's right now. Yeah. It is a little bit up in the air, but I got them right by each other. And I know you're not going to agree with this. I have Verlander in that mix too. I understand you don't want to bet on him until you see something. I'm betting on him basically before we get to spring, saying that I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready for the Verlander experience to be back. And I think he's gonna be a stud. I really do think he's gonna rebound.
I hope you're right.
I hope so too.
I hope you're right. But there's like zero way he ends up on any of my teams this year.
What about the fact that, like, he's not going at the price that I have him? You're not even paying the current price.
Fine. I'm not paying the current price. No.
Okay.
Where would the current price put him in terms of? I can figure it out.
But I was gonna pull it up right now here for you.
I can just sort by ADP on my draft sheet and figure it out. So Verlander is going about the 31st starter off the board.
Okay.
Because that's the beauty of the little draft sheet is I put ADP on there. And it doesn't include relievers, so we can just sort and go, hey, that's
very good.
Of course, ADP is changing all the time, so it's not updated necessarily. But 31st starter off the board, I got him like 50. Potentially, I 50 him at 59. Like, if he comes out and he looks good, I probably am still not getting him to 31.
Yeah, I mean, so, I don't have a lot to say because obviously I disagree, but I don't think I can fully sway anybody. It's a belief type of thing, and I'm willing to bet on it. I'm willing to take the discount because I do think that when he comes out in spring, I should say if he comes out in spring and he's dealing, I think the price soars.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we have personal biases too. Like,
no doubt,
when you think of Verlander, you think of him pitching for your Tigers and
you think of
winning divisions. And I think of
your guy.
Yeah, I think of him coming off of surgery and giving up 3 home runs to Pablo Sandoval. So, like, we just have a difference in, like, inherent memories about
him. I know. You jerk.
And plus, I'm jealous. I mean, nobody should be that good at something like baseball and in a marriage with Kate Upton. It's just,
right.
I mean, it's just not right.
You go the jealousy route. I go the admiration route. I'm like,
that's fair.
What a guy! What a guy!
And
but yeah,
my wife's jealous of Kate Upton. So
understandably, I think both sides have reasons to be jealous of the other. A couple of outwardly good people. I don't know. They might be. I haven't met either.
Yeah.
What I know of them off social media, I like both of them. Okay, I know we don't know people. I'm going off.
He's
of
got
just
an
what we
80
got.
grade first name. I mean, that's
the downside. That's always been the one thing that's kind of kept
what?
me at bay on him. Yeah,
No.
oh god, I hate
It's
that name.
amazing first name. 2 vowels that aren't A and E. A sound.
That's big. That's big in a name. Whenever you get a
ends
sound,
with an N, which is like power.
power.
Like, I mean,
Oh god, this podcast has the end. You got places to be. All right, that's going to wrap us up. Those are some potential fades for the BATX. That's Alejandro Kirk at catcher, Ty France at first base or second base, DJ Lemayo at first base or second base or first or third, Jazz Chisholm second and short, Anthony Rendon for our third base pick, and Tommy Edman for our outfield pick also qualifies at second, and Kevin Gossman among starters. I don't do relievers because so much is tied to saves. It doesn't really matter.
Relievers are insane right now.
Reliever projections too. Like I feel bad that they would even have to do those. What a waste of time. What an absolute waste of time, in my opinion.
It might be the bet. I don't even think they do save projections, right?
If they don't, totally fair. Like again, what a waste of time. It's completely like I don't see. I do see some save projections here, but I imagine it's pretty basic.
Yeah.
Looking on Josh Hader's profile, every site has 26 saves except for the ATC, which has 35. And ATC is an aggregate, so I'm wondering where those are gassed up from.
It doesn't only include projections from outside. I believe they include like Razzball projections. And
I know that. I'm wondering.
I'm guessing that's
who's got it pushed all the way up to 35 as an average though. If Steamer, Zips, and Bat are 26 apiece. But again, projections for saves, I envy those folks trying to forget that. No, that's kind of a play it on your own type of deal. I can't be responsible for your save projections for crying out loud. But all right, Justin, great speaking with you. We'll be back later this week. There'll be 2 more episodes this week. There'll be the PitchCon one, and then we'll have one. We didn't do a second one last week because you did your amazing Trip Flicks breakdown of Alex Fast on Friday when we were going to be going. So we had PitchCon. We didn't really have time to do a second episode, but we will have a second episode later this week. And then the PitchCon one, either Wednesday or Thursday. I'll talk to Nick about when I'm going to get that file.
And then we'll have a Sunday episode. Marty Tallman of Triple Play is going to join us on Sunday. And then we've got Michael Simeone the week after that, and Lauren Arbach the week after that. So
great group.
It's got some really good guests. If there's a guest you want to see on with me and Jason, or even me and Paul,
we'll do guests too.
Yeah,
I've actually got a little guest list right here on my. I need to start reaching out to them and hit you up about them.
Yeah, let's do it.
Got some folks on here that we need to talk to, but you're doing great with your Sunday guest episodes. So, all right, Justin, I will talk to you in a few days.
Take it easy.